Welcome, brethren, to another episode of Crafted in the South, the official Masonic podcast for the province of Hampshire and Isle of Wight.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is spring. The sun is shining. We got new material for you.
Yeah.
And hope this changes the pace of our podcast for what maybe for us listeners out there, the end of a Masonic year. So sometimes it ends now, sometimes people continue. And we're going to be bringing you some really cool stuff throughout the summer, hopefully.
Yeah, spring has finally sprung. The sun is shining. And what have you been doing for the past few weeks, Ron?
Well, it's been, it's been busy, Masonically speaking. Joined the side order. I'll delve into that real quick. Joined into Rose Craw, and we could delve that. We could actually just talk about that in future episodes. But yeah, expanded my Masonic journey. I'm really excited. Then visited some other lodges, and you always learn some new things. How about you, James?
Very, very similar. So I joined. I was fortunate enough to be balloted for and joined a second craft lodge. Kai Gwent Lodge.
Congratulations, that's amazing. Kai
Gwent Lodge, number 5071 in Winchester, and I've been installed as their junior deacon, which is an honour, and I'm looking forward to contributing to that lodge. And I also joined a side order, so I joined King Athelwulf Conclave of the Red Cross of Constantine, also meeting in Winchester, which is a sort of one of the Christian orders. So yeah, an exciting few weeks.
Yeah, congrats for that as well. And I agree with you. Cairngorm, those lads they're really fantastic. I highly recommend to visit them if you are around Winchester as well. But also now we've expanded a little bit more and went up north, right? We're gonna go this time to Andover, or Andover came to us, if you want to say, right?
Indeed, they did. We're joined this week by the Area Vice-Chairman for Andover, Gifton Bailey, Area Vice-Chairman, and I believe shortly to be appointed provincial Grand Senior Deacon. No, that's a lie.
Steward.
Provincial Grand Senior Warden.
Oh, Warden, Senior Warden. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right. 100%.
If we just name all the ranks,
yeah, exactly.
Eventually, we'll get the one that applies to.
And it's well deserved, because Gifton is one of those special brethren. Always happy, always welcoming, and he loves his Freemasonry. And what are we going to be talking about with him on this episode, James?
We're going to be talking to Gifton about the challenges of diversity in Freemasonry, how we appeal to different cultures, different communities, and we're going to hear what Gifton has to say.
And also the opportunities as well. And brethren, just listen in.
Gifton, welcome. Introduce yourself and tell us who you are.
My name's Gifton Bailey. I'm a Freemason at the Andover Centre, and I've been a Freemason since 2008. So that's about 17 years now. But I wish I joined earlier. I thoroughly enjoy it. I really thoroughly. It's in my blood, in my DNA.
First in the family, or did you have other family and friends that talked to you?
It's the first in my family, but my wife Melanie, her family were big Freemasons. Going back to great grandfather. He's a family of 7 boys. I think half of those were Freemasons, and he's the one that actually got me into Freemasonry. Because he's a Chester Freemason, and they moved down here. And at the time I was working in London, and I didn't really know a lot of people. And my wife had a friend, and he came and do some work in our house, and found out he was a Freemason, and hence why I ended up joining an Andover Lodge. Because I was going to join a Chester Lodge, but it was just logistically, it wouldn't have been very,
It's a long way from a meeting.
Yeah, definitely. So that's how I joined Freemasonry. I knew a little bit about Freemasonry from my father-in-law, but I didn't really know the scope of Freemasonry like I know now. And the sad thing about it is, before I went in the chair in 2014, he passed away. So it was quite a shame that he didn't see me go into the chair. because he was the one that encouraged me to go into the chair, because I wanted to sit back and help the lodge, do a little bit of ritual when called on, but I actually didn't really want to do a lot. It was more to make friends, which I have done. So,
And you reached the exalted position of Area Vice-Chairman. You breathe the rarefied air.
I thought you didn't want to do anything else and just to make friends.
that's true. And, but the more you get the more you get into it, the more you think, oh well, I could do this, I could do that, and that's how it's just transpired. I was very lucky to become a provincial steward in 2017, and then it just really changed my life. I went to so many different places across the province as a provincial steward, and it really opened my eyes to how big Freemasonry was. Because not like now, we have the North Circular where, there's a visiting club.
Yes.
Then we go out and visiting different places. When I was a young Freemason, there wasn't that much. And my lodge was very top heavy with older members. There weren't very many younger members, I should say. And we weren't really encouraged to go and visit other lodges as such. We visited in the centre, because in Andover there's a very, very good visiting culture. We visit each other's lodges very regularly. But outside the centre, it wasn't really encouraged as much. And like I said, when I became a provincial steward, goodness me, it was like a revelation for me. Going to the Isle of Wight, places like that. Yeah, it was just amazing.
When you say revelation, what do you mean by that?
It's just to see other Freemasons really enjoying their Freemasonry, packed temples, and everybody having a laugh and a joke. And, I went to one meeting where it was an official visit, and it was on the island, and the temple was so packed, I had half a bum cheek on a chair. That's how it was.
Much, yeah.
And, the guys over there were saying, oh, Gifton, don't go, stay the night, have a drink, you can go back in the morning. And it actually made a huge impression on me, that did. A huge impression. And ever since then, I've sort of like thrown myself in, and I volunteer for jobs, and that's how I've ended up being Area Vice-Chairman of Andover, really.
Brilliant. Gifton, now I wanted to ask you, since you've traveled so much in Hampshire and the Isle of Wight, and one of the comments or questions that I get asked is Freemasonry diverse? Is it diverse enough?
In my opinion, it's not. Because growing up through my Freemasonry life, you go online and you see different areas, different provinces posting pictures. And I always look at it and I used to think, it's all old white men.
Yeah.
You never saw any black men at all. And one of my things is I thought, well, maybe I could try to change that, because, you've got to see one to be one.
Agreed.
And I've tried to sort of like get myself about a little bit to sort of like try to change that. But in my travels over the years, I have bumped into quite a lot of men of colour. But I still I don't think it represents our society as it is today.
I'm with you on that one. I mean, I'm American, but I'm an American of Latin American descent, and I've been a Mason for 3 years, and I haven't met anyone that is of Latin American background. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it's a negative thing. I think sometimes it's just where we are.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Yeah. It's because we live in, Hampshire.
Yes, exactly.
So apart from the guys who are in the forces, there isn't really a very big sort of like community of, Afro-Caribbean
Yeah.
people or Americans. We get, like I said, get a lot of servicemen.
But even the big cities we've got themselves aren't that metropolitan, are they?
No.
Yes,
Compared to the big
exactly.
cities like the Birminghams and the Londons.
Exactly.
Yes,
And that's-
yes.
We don't compete with them at all. do we?
No. But I still think we could do a little bit better
Yes.
when trying to attract people of other colours, because diversity covers a whole spectrum
Yeah.
of things. So, but I can only speak on colour
Yeah.
because I'm a man of colour. And I think we should try to do a little bit more,
So maybe for you and I, it's obvious what the barriers are. Do you think that maybe we could go a little bit deeper into that? What is the perception maybe? And we did you did hit upon it. It's like, oh, it's just maybe before you joined, it was just like, oh, it's just, it's just a bunch of people that don't look like me, and maybe they don't have anything in common with my background. Was there any sentiment or
the thing about what I thought I liked about Freemasonry before I joined was the charity side of things and making new friends, because I have got friends now. If I wasn't a Freemason, I don't think that we would be friends, because we're just completely from different backgrounds. And I think that's a beautiful thing in Freemasonry.
yes,
That you get to meet people like yourself,
yeah,
like yourselves. I would never ever sort of, if we were walking down the street or in a pub,
Yeah.
the chances are we would never speak.
absolutely,
And I've met some really, really interesting people. And I think that's one of the good things about Freemasonry. But like the negative side of things, I think there's a misconception of what Freemasonry is. Because I know in the West Indian community, Freemasons are seen as the Illuminati, devil worshippers,
yeah,
that sort of thing. And because in the West Indian community, they are very religious people, and they see it as a no
go. On the flip side, you have then some other nationalities or some other countries that see it as something that's it's inaccessible. You need to know someone important. You have to have a certain economic background in order to be considered. At least that's where I see it from the Latin American side. And also, there is this lodge in Southampton that is very diverse when it comes to their membership. They're Filipino, which is Canute Lodge in Southampton. It is very interesting to go into that lodge, because I lived in Southampton already for 5 years, and I didn't know that there was this group of guys that take their Freemasonry so serious on another level. And again, that kind of smacks me in the face, because I was thinking, oh, where's the diversity in Freemasonry? And it's actually down the street from my house. I would just, maybe I wasn't looking in the correct places. And sometimes you get surprised after 10 years of being a Freemason.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, I wasn't expecting this. Have you encountered something like that in your travels?
Not really. I still think that there are pockets of men of colour in various lodges, but I think it's only very, very small pockets. But I'm not knocking Hampshire and Isle of Wight or any other province.
I think there's I've visited Canute a few times, and I've met the Filipino guys in there, and they're a fantastic group of guys.
Yeah.
They take their masonry incredibly seriously, and they perform their ritual incredibly well. And if anybody has a chance to visit Canute Lodge, absolutely take it. It's a great night out. But I'm told that the majority of members of the Filipino community who joined Canute Lodge have done so because other members were there first, other members of the community, and it sort of snowballs. And there's a challenge, I guess, in given that people who are white make up the overwhelming number of Freemasons, certainly in this province, as far as I can see, there's a challenge in showing other cultures and other communities that Freemasonry is a welcome home for them, without kind of saying, well, we need you to stand on a stand at FITC, or we want to put your face on a leaflet because you're the token black guy. It's not or the token Indian guy. You know, there's a balance between, you know, showing off our diversity such as it is without using people solely because of how they look. And I'm interested, you know, from an AVC's perspective, if you were trying to generate membership from the communities of Andover, how do you think what's a good way to sort of strike that balance?
Well, I think because as an AVC, I'm trying to organise an open day in the centre, and I think that we will have people from, you know, we'll have a few black guys there, service guys, because they will do two things. They will attract servicemen and they will attract black men. And but what I don't want us to do is get the wrong men.
Yes.
So it's very, very difficult to try to balance that, because Andover is expanding just like any other town across the UK. And so there are young men who have moved there. Their friendship circles are very, very small, and they're looking to join something to open their friendship circle, because that's one of the reasons I joined as well, because like I said, the friendship circle was very small because I worked in London. I didn't really socialise, didn't really play any sport or anything, so Freemasonry is a way of me meeting people. And as an AVC for Andover, I think, again, it's just going to be young men of a whole spectrum of different young men, not all, but, you know, because you want to put some older guys in there because they've got a lot of experience, so they can pass that experience on to people who are interested and want to pose questions. So it is very, very difficult to try to strike that kind of balance of where you're going to put yourself.
Yeah, it's an irony, I think, isn't it, that when someone sort of formally expresses an interest in joining and they fill out their Form P and they start to meet with lodges and committees and so on, your culture and your ethnicity couldn't matter less. It's just not. It's just not a relevant factor.
That's right.
In any of that. But the bit before it can be very relevant. You know, if I'm sat on a stand at an FITC event and someone from a culture that's not mine comes up to me, it would be helpful if I could use cultural similarities to show how Freemasonry can enrich their life in the way that it's done mine. But I can't do that because I don't have that cultural connection.
Yeah.
So it's very important up to a point. Then it becomes not remotely.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah, that's very true. Because we've just moved out of Andover, and people in Andover who I knew of colour, I asked them to join, and they weren't not interested remotely for different reasons. But I think the main reason was, you know, they don't know enough about it.
Yes.
But I think over the years, Freemasonry has opened up so much, and the word is getting out. So I think things will change in time. But at the moment, we've just got this perception of that we're a secret society and we do dodgy things. And people are still quite wary of that.
Yeah.
It's generational, I think, isn't it? You know,
Yes.
people, for the most part, form their initial opinions from their parents and the people around them, and often they never lose those views. Those are their opinions for the rest of their lives. But I think for as long as Freemasonry continues to open up and show itself for what it really is, eventually the people whose opinions are being passed on will be ours. It will be people who understand it to be something that's good and not subversive or secret or something.
Yeah, because when
something conspiratorial.
I spoke to my mum when I first was going to join, and she said, "Are you really going to join that? It's not very good. I've heard it's not very good." And I said, and at the time, obviously, I didn't really know a lot about Freemasonry, so I was kind of a little bit on the back foot. But as time has gone on, you know, I've put her mind to rest to say, look, you know, it is fine, Mum. And she's met a few Freemason friends, and it's okay. But again, it's a generational thing, and it's an educational thing.
Oh, so I'm so glad you said that. Because I think it needs to be flipped on its head, right? Because it's just, let's say if you're, I want to maybe just put the name, a potential candidate, right? Maybe this potential candidate has zero intention of joining Freemasonry. You present it to them, and they have all these negative connotations. Oh, it's just, you know, people that don't look like me, or religious issue, whatever. All those things don't matter, right? So how I like to flip it is like, it'll bring diversity to your life, to the way you live, to the way you think, and probably even ingratiate you more in the area that you've lived in, or seen in a different light. Because I'm not from this country. I came here 5 years ago. 4 weeks before the pandemic, didn't know a single soul, and I can tell you wholeheartedly, Freemasonry has diversified my life in ways that I haven't even imagined, or can't even imagine yet, because I'm a newer Mason. I'm 3 years old here, right? Yeah. So I see it from a different perspective, coming from a very diverse background from Miami, Florida, regional hub of the Caribbean, Central South America. I would call that experience a regionalist experience. Yeah. And then I came to England, to Hampshire, to Southampton, and it was just like, oh wait, it's very vanilla here. You know, you're going to a very vanilla place. I'm like, yeah, but that's diversity in my world, because I've never experienced it, right? Yeah. And in that vanilla world, there's many different tastes of vanilla, especially here in Hampshire. Accent, what town you're born in, you live on the island, you don't live on the island, and it's just been absolutely wonderful. So I see it from a very different perspective. It brought me diversity in a very gentle, let's say, wrapped in it wasn't obvious. Yeah. It was very, the tone is quite soft, but I think diversity in Freemasonry means so many different things, other than the obvious. Yeah. Yeah. Other than the obvious of being a man of color, but it comes to the religious side. If you want to get on that side, that we do have Jewish members, we do have Sikh members, we do have Muslim members. Maybe not in your area. Maybe the lodge that you haven't gone to in your Masonic center, there are people like that. Let's see. One of our brethren, he's Sikh, and it's been the most amazing thing that I ever encountered, because I didn't know anything about the Sikh religion, and it's actually opened up this door of me researching what they're about, and just me visiting a temple, a Sikh temple as well, and going through their services and exploring this whole entire different culture. And that was offered to me because of Freemasonry. So, like you said, diversity means so many things in Freemasonry. And that's why sometimes I like to turn it on its head. And especially now with the younger Masons now being, I think, more open-minded, there's a chance and there is a way. We just have to organize a little bit better. Yeah. Because we're such a huge organization that I think sometimes we get paralyzed when we're thinking things and we're planning too many things, when we just do. Yeah. And I think Grand Lodge, I think they're doing a great job. It just hasn't trickled down yet. I don't know why. I don't think it's an organizational thing. It is I think maybe our provinces just need to take the baton and then filter it down as well, because we do have some things called interest lodges in Grand Lodge, and we have a lodge for sports. We have a lodge for F1 racing, for ballroom dancers, sci-fi,
yeah.
country sports, right? So then we present you diversity in a very different package than what we're used to hearing it from. And I think also sometimes that avoids uncomfortable feelings. And then you have this inherent, let's say you have this whole spectrum of diversity then given to you on a silver platter in a different way. I think the vehicle is quite beautiful in Freemasonry, because then we have, if you like to go down that route, you have the female Freemasonry as well. That's a whole different world to experience. There's so much within Freemasonry that it will, it'll stimulate you for a lifetime.
Yeah.
And that's how I've been seeing it. But yeah, we're just gonna get better of how we explain diversity.
Because I've got two daughters, and my eldest daughter, she goes out with men of sort of like in their 30s, and it always gets she tells them that I'm a Freemason. She has no secrets to hide, and they all, apart from maybe one or two, they all think, they say, that's a strange thing to join. It's only for rich white men. And
Interesting, see?
And my daughter says, well, then they're not, not all rich white men. My father's not rich, and he's black. So and it's a perception thing, and people have different perceptions of, Freemasonry and Freemasons.
Yeah, and it's our job to turn that.
Yeah, and it isn't just like you said, it's all our responsibility to try to change that.
Yeah,
and to get a real diverse organization, not just from a color perspective, but across the board, and make it a little bit more representative of the society that we live in.
Agreed.
Because I think there are so many things good about Freemasonry that would help in the world. Now. It's just mind-blowing.
I like that you said that, and for me, I like to challenge lodges or whoever is good at recruitment at lodge. Go try to find guys that are different in thought from you. That maybe from your point of view they're a little bit quirky, but they have something to offer. I like that. We've recruited very many different guys in our lodge in this year. Like you said earlier, I don't think would have met. And they're so different. Yeah, they just challenge your thinking and give you a very different this dimension of seeing the world that you're like, oh my God, I really was stuck in my ways for a while, and you just opened up, knocked at this door, and I may not agree with you, but you're giving me this different perspective that I haven't even like thought about or been challenged about. And I think that's where the beauty comes of it, of the diversity. Of you could challenge your own brethren, you could challenge your own self to bring different people of thought, of profession. And as you said before, the backgrounds that just crisscross in this organization, they would never crisscross at a pub.
No. It is a fantastic organization, and we need to, I don't know how or, the best way to go about it, but we need to let people know how good our organization is. But, it is an ongoing thing, to look after the brethren that we've got and to send the message out to people that we haven't got, to say, look, come and join us, like-minded or not like-minded.
So Ronnie and I are doing some work at the moment with the North Central Comms team on generating some leads for the area on Facebook and Instagram. Ronnie's experimenting with some LinkedIn content and some other bits and pieces. How do you think we could change our message or tailor it or target it better so we reach those parts of the communities that we don't currently meet? When you look at the way Masonry markets itself, do you see opportunities missed for cultural engagement? Is it a case of we need to speak directly to those communities, try and go to their events, or is it just that we're putting the wrong faces on our leaflets, we're using the wrong words? What if you had to list a few things that we could consider to start to solve some of these problems, what would those things be?
I think it'd be very difficult.
Not to put you on the spot or anything, but
I think it'd be very difficult to go to, say, an event, because people from the Afro-Caribbean, they go to an event and they want to enjoy their event. They won't turn round and stop at a stand and speak to somebody about Freemasonry.
Yeah.
I can't see. They'll go to the event, they'll dance, eat, listen to whatever music or whatever it is, or a concert or a talk. I think that's the nature.
Yeah.
I believe. So I don't think speaking face to face would be the way to go, but I think it's a little bit more colourful, a little bit more snappy, because I do think that it's a little bit samey, a little bit boring sometimes. It's the same sort of message that's sent out there. Just try something maybe a little bit different. Put some music in it. I don't know. I'm just thinking out of the box a little bit. But I think that would sort of like help to generate some new leads possibly. And maybe look at, because of the age groups as well, I think maybe we're looking for too young, maybe looking at age groups, maybe sort of like late 20s onwards, because a lot of younger guys, they just haven't got the finances to join. And I know, we all pay our fees, and fees are unfortunately are all going up.
Yeah.
But that is another thing. That is a big stopping point for people. But again, if you sort of like put in there saying it's not as expensive as you think, there are different ways you can pay. So, just try to tell people, because it does frighten people, the cash aspect.
And do you think, you mentioned earlier that one of the challenges of recruitment generally is making sure that you're bringing the right people into lodges, because you want people who can contribute positively to lodge life. Do you, with that in mind, do you think that Freemasonry should more closely mirror the community that it sits in? And if so, do you think one is compatible with the other? How do you, if you're trying to increase the sort of the depth of talent in Freemasonry, if I can put it that way, do you have to be a little bit more flexible about the things that are red lines for Freemasonry in terms of admission?
To be fair, I'd slightly disagree with you, because I think that everybody joins different things for different reasons. My proposer, he's no longer a Freemason, because he's a very, very good friend who he used to come to lodge with, sadly passed away. And he couldn't bear coming to lodge, even though he'd made and had other friends there. It kept reminding him of the loss of his friend.
Wow.
So he stopped coming, and he resigned. But he was a really good Freemason, but he didn't want to go through the chair. He just sat and he helped out the stewards when they needed help, went to all the functions and that sort of thing. And I think sometimes we try too much to get people to do things in Freemasonry. And there's nothing, we need to say to people, there's nothing wrong in just sitting there and enjoying your Freemasonry. And you can leave the running around to people like Gifton, who's silly because he wants to do it all. And like yourselves, you haven't been in for very long, but you're doing other things.
Yes.
To help. And I think that's what we need to try to do, to try to strike that balance of getting people in who want to do certain things and get involved, and those ones that don't, we just say, okay, that's fine. Just still enjoy your Freemasonry.
Contribute by your presence.
Yes,
your
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think we do. I have come across it in a few instances where we do sort of like look at that and think, oh well, he's joined. He must go to Lodge of Instruction. He must go to. Well, sometimes it's not always possible for everybody to do these things.
Life gets in the way.
Yes, it does. And we need to move away from that. And I think when we do recruit people, we need to just step away and just think, okay, they can come to their meetings. And if they do want to progress or do more, then you open up the door to them and say, look, there is this that you can do. But it's down to each lodge to make that decision on how they move forward with people. I keep saying,
It's all right. We do it all the time.
I guess the message there is that you know, in Winchester, where we're members, there are half a dozen or more lodges in the Winchester Masonic Centre. I suspect there's a similar number in Andover.
and we've only got 5 lodges.
But
Okay.
I suppose it's easy to think that the needs of each of those lodges in their new members is the same, or actually it may not be. If you've got a lodge that's fortunate enough to have 6 or 7 officers sort of or 6 or 7 members on the steward's bench waiting to progress, you don't necessarily need to just aim for the people who really want to be ambitious and move on.
Exactly.
Because, you know, that's not the right lodge for them. They might be better off in another. So, you know, it's horses for courses, isn't it? Different lodges.
So one of the good things about being the Area Vice-Chairman, when people come through the provincial route to join Freemasonry, you look at their resume and you think, okay, there's a guy who's just come in. He's just recently moved to the area, and he's a big shooter, loves his clay pigeon shooting and does sporting events. And there's a couple of guys in my own lodge, my mother lodge, who are really big shooters. And I thought, actually, that would be a really good fit. They'll obviously get on together because they've got a common thing that they want to do together, and it's something that they can talk about as well. And that's what we need to do. Try to fit people
To fit in.
to the lodges. Yeah. And I think we're actually getting better at it, but we still need to work a little bit harder, because you bring in your friends and you bring them in because they're your friends, but the lodge still may not suit them.
Yeah, you're right,
even though
about that.
they're your mates.
Yeah.
So
it's about being conscious of the personality of your lodge. Start thinking the lodge as a person, as a body, what you offer, what its personality is. That's a very good way of
because
of thinking about it.
there are some lodges you know, they bring a lot of guys, they bring their friends in, and it just doesn't fit them.
Yeah.
Like one of my lodges I look after in Andover, I won't mention its name, but they have a really big steward's bench. But those guys, before their meetings, there are about 8 or 9 of them, they'll all meet up down the pub before the meeting, they'll have a swift beer, and then they'll come to the meeting and they'll all be running around doing things, selling raffle tickets. And it's just so nice to see that because they didn't really know each other. I think there's 1 or 2 of them are cousins, but they brought in all their friends.
All their friends, yeah.
And there's a little school of them, and it's great to see.
Yeah.
You know, they're all, and they're young men. You know, they're sort of like late 20s, early 30s, and it's great.
There was, you saying that reminds completely segue from it. In June last year, I was fortunate enough to visit a lodge in Florida, Pine Castle Lodge number 368 in the Grand Lodge of Florida. And in that lodge, when they close, they kind of don't go up and down through the degrees in the way that we do. The way they closed was that the master instructed everyone there to turn to the east and make the signs, and you'd make the signs all the way up to from the first to the third, and then sort of come down again. And none of the stewards were, I don't know if it was just because it was for them, or if it was one of the rules, but none of the stewards were master masons. So they couldn't be present for the closing because they'd see signs that they hadn't been taught. And in this particular lodge, they had a fairly large Masonic centre all to themselves. which had a dining room and a kitchen for their festive boards, but no bar. So after the meeting, they have to go to a local bar, and one of the things that they made the stewards do, they kicked the stewards out before they closed the lodge, and their job was to go down to the bar, find a table, and get the round of drinks in for a minute. That was the job of the stewards. Set the pub up.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gifton, I know you have some big news, and I would like to ask you to please share that with us.
Well, I've just been promoted.
Yeah.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah.
And it's a
Senior Warden?
active senior warden. Yeah.
Doesn't get much higher than that.
No. And at first, when the provincial Grand Master phoned me the day before Christmas, I was making pastry, and the phone rang, and I picked it up, and he said, "Oh, Gifton, this is John," and he told me, and I swore down the phone at him because I was so shocked. And he asked me would I do it, and I said I would be thoroughly thrilled and honoured to do it. And then I put the phone down after speaking to him for a couple of minutes, and I spoke to my wife about it, and it actually dawned on me how big this job is. Then I started to get imposter syndrome, to thinking, well, why have I got this job? Or, and my wife said to me, well, you do work quite hard in Freemasonry. And she said to me, if Freemasonry was a job, you'd be paid quite a lot of money, she said. But I'm really looking forward to my new post for the year. And I know I'm going to be very, very busy.
We have non-Masons that hear this. So what is the post? What does it entail?
Well, I am the senior warden for Hampshire and Isle of Wight.
Oh, fantastic.
So when you see the promotions come out,
Yes.
my name is the first one on.
Oh, brilliant.
I'm number one.
Is that a 1 year appointment?
It's a 1 year active appointment.
Okay.
And what are the duties of that role?
Basically, what I get 6 visits.
Of course, you'll have your own official visit, right?
My own official
Okay.
visit. So I will turn up, hopefully with a few people supporting me, and I will address the lodge on behalf of the provincial Grand Master, and see the ceremony, and then report back to the provincial Grand Master, thank the secretary and the lodge, that sort of thing, write some letters. And then support the provincial Grand Master and the deputy provincial Grand Master on their duties as well.
Correct. Oh, wow.
And do you have, if you attend an official visit where either the provincial Grand Master or the deputy provincial Grand Master are the visitor, do you have particular duties, or at the AGM is there a particular job that you need to do?
At the AGM, when I get invested, I will close the lodge with the provincial Grand Master.
Oh, in much in the same way that we do.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I'll close the lodge, which I'm worried about, stand in front of all those people.
Is it a normal? I've never been to an AGM. Is it the standard? Is it?
No, it's slightly different.
It's quite big.
More work to it.
So that would be this summer.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, in July, right?
July, yeah.
I think we'll see you there, James. We're gonna go.
I think we're going. Yeah.
Well, I think everybody should go.
I've never been to Grand Lodge at all. Not as a visitor. Never in 3 years. I've never been there.
Gifton's face. It was brilliant.
I've never been there. So, yeah, I want to tick a number of boxes this year, and that's one of them.
Yeah, but to have the AGM at the Grand Lodge is absolutely fantastic. And before I wasn't, lucky enough to get this promotion, I used to sit there for the last 2, and I'm thinking, all these guys going up, it must be such an honour and a thrill to go up and get a promotion at Grand Lodge.
Absolutely.
And, it's absolutely lovely because we're all up there. There must be sort of like 300-400 of us up there.
Yeah.
And we've filled the bottom tier of the temple, and it's great.
It's somewhat majestic, ethereal. There's an excitement. The pomp and circumstance it's incredible. But what I love about it is that it's just our province, and the energy of just our province is quite big, because I've been to a Grand Lodge event, and it's equal to it. I thought it was going to be a little bit more subdued because it's this province. Absolutely not. It is fantastic, and our PGM is perfect at it as well.
Yeah.
So it's quite exciting that you get to get to do that.
Yeah.
Like, wow. I mean, little Freemason's dream as well.
That's right.
You know, James and Rod
Seeing one of those
sitting.
big gold, sitting the senior warden's big gold chair at the other end.
I've seen the pictures. It looks like a fantastic.
I am so looking forward to my active year.
Yeah.
But I'm a little bit nervous. There's a little bit of nerves there, because to sit there and to make a speech on behalf of the provincial Grand Master to convey his messages to the brethren. Mm-hmm. I just want to do it right, and to do right by him for having the confidence and the faith that he's put in me for the job. Well, it's an amazing thing.
Well, I know from my short time in Freemasonry in Hampshire, Isle of Wight, that you are a very well regarded member of Freemasonry.
Yes.
And I know everybody listening will wish you all the very best for your year.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Really looking forward to it.
Wow, Roddy, what a fantastic interview that was.
It was brilliant. Gifton just sheds light on a unique experience in Freemasonry, and there's a lot to do, but also we expanded on opportunities of what diversity brings in Freemasonry, and it's quite exciting. Our job is it never ends. That's why we've been here 300 years plus, right?
Yeah, that's right. It was it's lovely to have Gifton on the show. He's a busy man, what with his role as Area Vice-Chairman and his new promotion. So yeah, we were pleased to have him. We've got some fantastic interviews coming up because, of course, the summer break is upon us.
Yeah,
there are some lodges who will meet in May. Our own lodge, of course, Wolvesey Lodge, finishes in April this month. But it's important, I think, to keep going over the summer if you can. So to that end, if you can, brethren, find a lodge that meets through the summer. Keep going, keep meeting new people and making a daily advancement in Masonic knowledge, as they say.
I'm glad that you chimed in on that because, brethren, especially the new members, try to see if we have around your area a lodge of instruction, so you could go practice your ritual and like you said, your daily advancement. Usually they might meet every week, Thursdays or Fridays. And it's just good fun just to go to rehearsal and you just meet other brethren around your area in different lodges. So you could actually class it as a visit as well. But also, before I forget, I want to apologize to Canute Lodge because they do not meet in Southampton. They meet in Chandler's Ford at King's Court, and I wanted to correct that. But James, also during the summer, there's some events around Hampshire with Freemasonry in the community, and again, just keep your eyes peeled for that on Facebook, because we would love for you to join those appeals to just get just to talk about Freemasonry in your community and just meet potential new members, and just show how proud you are of being a Freemason.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Freemasonry in the community, FITC, is a hugely important initiative. It's a great way to get out there and meet and attract new members. It's a really important way of continuing to open up and demystify the craft, and show everybody what we are as well as what we are not. So if there's an event near you, feel free to come along. Do find out from your lodge secretary who the local FITC rep is for whichever area of the province you're in, and come and get involved. It's great. It's no cost to you other than time. And as the summer is here, that'll be time spent at markets, farmers markets, summer fetes, and all that cool stuff.
Yeah.
And as you say, I think Canute Lodge is a fantastic lodge, really worth visiting. And I'm very sad that they'll never let you visit again.
Ever again. All right, that's it from us today.
Yep. So until next time, brethren, Roddy and I have been happy to meet.
Sorry to part.
But happy to meet again. See ya.
Bye.